I got 4 questions for you that we'll just take a little bit of your time on that. But if you look at that card, the first question, you're probably already thinking it, and you know, because Nevada, it's funny when I show that card, around the nation, everybody goes, look at Nevada. Look at Nevada. The first question that comes to people's mind that we ask people is why? Why the difference? And it's kind of funny, the answers that come out, actually. When you ask someone, you really want an answer, and you ask them why the difference, it's really amusing, and I'll talk about some of the answers that come out. But here's what's amazing. The promise at statehood, your Enabling Act, our Enabling Act, you guys were made, Nevada was admitted as a state in 1864. The language of your Enabling Act says the people of the state forever disclaim all right and title, not jurisdiction, but all right and title to the unappropriated public lands. And many people act as if there's a big period right there. That's only half the sentence. The rest of the sentence reads, until title thereto shall have been extinguished, those lands are subject to disposition by the United States. And if you look at that same language, that's the same language in the Enabling Act of North Dakota and South Dakota and Oklahoma and Nebraska and Louisiana and Mississippi. And the Supreme Court has said other states that have very similar language in their Enabling Acts, it's different, but it's related. The Supreme Court has said repeatedly, it means the same thing. So the promises on both sides of that map are the same. Why the difference? Why the difference? There came a time when the western states got completely fed up with that. You know this history well, I think. They got fed up with that and said, you got to keep your promise. They got together, they banded together and sent resolution after resolution, delegation to Congress and said, why aren't you keeping your promise? We can't tax the land to educate our children. We can't grow our economies and provide good paying jobs, and you're hoarding all of our abundant resources and minerals, right? Does that sound familiar? That was in 1828. In 1828, the western states, by their own description, they called themselves the western states, were Indiana and Illinois, Missouri, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. Florida said, we're worse off than all the western states. Illinois, the federal government had controlled 90%, like Nevada, 90% of their land for decades. Missouri, they had controlled 90% of their land for decades. But they got together and said, you have to keep your promise. You know, that was back when men were men and states were states. And they said, you will keep your promise and all that implies. And they did. Look at the map. 3 to 4% federally controlled lands east of Colorado. Why? That's your second why question.